The great alien city of Vorthal was built from silver stones that glowed under 3 suns. Tall towers rose above the mist and strange airships floated between them like quiet ghosts. Inside one of those towers, the Royal Council of the Zellari race gathered to discuss a delicate problem: the humans. For many months, humans and Zellari had been trading across the stars. The humans were clever and brave, but the Zellari still thought of them as primitive. Yet one human had done something no alien could ignore. He had saved a Zellari fleet from destruction. His name was Eli Ward, a blind human engineer who could see with sound and touch better than most could with eyes. Now, the Zellari Council felt they had to reward him. "He saved our people," said Lord Verne, his voice echoing across the round chamber. "We must give him an honor no human has ever received." An older noble hissed softly. "A marriage bond, perhaps. Let him join our royal family. It will make him loyal forever." The chamber grew silent. A human married to a Zellari princess, and it would be history. But then someone laughed. "Which princess?" sneered a tall noblewoman. "Surely not our radiant ones. Give him Kira." The room filled with low chuckles. Princess Kira, the hidden sister of the royal family, was whispered about like a curse. She had been born with rough, uneven skin, strange glowing eyes, and a body that never grew the same way as the others. Her family had kept her away from public eyes, ashamed of how she looked. "But the human is blind," another voice said mockingly. "He will not know she is unpleasant to look at." The laughter grew louder. "Perfect. Let the blind man have the sister no one else wants. He will never notice the difference." Only one voice in the council, an old healer, spoke in protest. "You speak cruelly. The human may not see with eyes, but perhaps he sees more than we do." The nobles ignored her. The decision was made. The council would send Princess Kira to the human as a gift of peace. The humans would celebrate. The Zellari would secretly laugh. Far away, on a quiet human colony called Eden's Reach, Eli Ward worked alone in a workshop filled with machines. His world was sound and vibration. Every hum, every click, every breath told him where things were. He had lost his sight long ago in an accident, but he never saw it as a curse. To him, the world was still full of shape and life, just painted in a different kind of light. When the message came from the Zellari, his hands froze mid-motion. The alien envoy spoke in a deep, clicking voice. "Eli Ward of Earth," it said. "The Royal Council of Zellari has chosen you for the highest honor. You are to be joined with Princess Kira of the Zellari Empire, as a symbol of unity." Eli raised an eyebrow. "A marriage?" "Yes," the envoy replied. "Your act of courage saved many lives. The council wishes to bind our species as one family." Eli smiled faintly. He had never cared for fame or reward, but a royal bond. That was something he could not refuse without causing offense. So he bowed slightly and said, "Then I accept, with respect and gratitude." The envoy's tone changed, a hint of strange amusement behind it. "You are wise, human. The princess will arrive soon." When the envoy left, Eli sat alone in silence. He could sense something strange in the air, a quiet mockery behind the words. Still, his heart was calm. He had no expectations. He whispered to himself, "Whoever she is, I will treat her with kindness." Meanwhile, aboard a royal ship cutting through deep space, Princess Kira sat by a window staring at the stars. Her skin shimmered with uneven light, a mixture of silver and green that frightened even her servants. She had heard the council's laughter when they told her she would marry a human, and a blind one. "They think it's funny," she murmured to her caretaker. "They think he won't notice what I am." Her caretaker looked away. "It is an honor, Princess." Kira gave a bitter smile. "No, it's punishment. They are sending me away like trash they no longer want." For a long while she sat in silence. The stars outside seemed endless, cold and beautiful. Then she whispered, "Maybe he will be cruel too. Maybe he will hate me once he touches me." But deep inside, a small part of her hoped the human might be different. Back on Eden's Reach, the sky cracked open as the alien ship descended. Humans gathered to watch, whispering about the strange marriage. Eli waited in the courtyard, his head lifted slightly, listening to the wind, the hum of engines, and the soft heartbeat approaching him. The hatch opened. Kira stepped out slowly. The crowd gasped, some in pity, others in shock. Her appearance drew whispers. But Eli smiled gently. "I hear you," he said softly. You walk with care, but your steps sound strong. Kira froze. No one had ever spoken to her like that. And in that moment, before she even spoke a word, she realized something. This blind human might be the first person in the galaxy who could truly see her. The sky above Eden's Reach was painted with strange colors that day. The alien ship still floated in the clouds like a silver whale humming softly. People from every corner of the colony had gathered near the landing zone, hoping to glimpse the moment when a human would meet his alien bride. Cameras hovered in the air, reporters whispered, and the air felt thick with curiosity. Eli Ward stood quietly in the middle of it all, his posture calm but his heart steady and aware. He could not see the crowd staring, but he could hear them. The shuffle of feet, the anxious breathing, the soft sighs of disbelief. His world was made of sound and feeling, and in that world he was never truly blind. Then the alien doors opened. A sharp hiss echoed, and a scent like rain on metal filled the air. Every sound sharpened for Eli. He could sense a new heartbeat stepping onto the platform. Slow, careful, afraid. He turned his head toward it immediately. Princess Kira stepped forward, her silver robe glinting in the sunlight. Her skin had patches that shimmered unevenly, her eyes glowing like broken stars. The crowd's whispers grew cruel. "Is that her?" someone muttered. "She looks strange. Poor man. He doesn't even know." The alien guards standing beside her didn't hide their smirks. To them it was all a joke, the blind man and the unwanted sister. But when Eli spoke, his voice was steady and warm. "You walk softly," he said. "But your steps sound careful, like someone used to hiding." Kira froze. She had expected disgust, laughter, maybe fear, but not this. "Not gentleness, she began, her voice breaking. "You can tell that from sound?" Eli smiled faintly. "I can tell you've been hurt before." There was silence. The alien guards shifted uncomfortably. Kira didn't know what to say. No one had ever seen her pain before, not even with eyes. Eli stepped forward slowly, guided by his cane. When he reached her, he extended a hand. "I am Eli Ward. It's an honor to meet you, Princess." Kira hesitated. Her claws trembled slightly as she reached out. Her skin was rough, uneven. She was sure he would flinch. But when his fingers touched hers, they stayed still. His touch was calm and kind. "You have strong hands," he said softly. "And warm." Her throat tightened. "You don't mind?" Eli tilted his head. "Mind what?" "The way I look," she whispered. He chuckled quietly. "I've never seen a single sunrise or face since I was young. So no, Princess, I don't judge what I cannot see. I only care how something feels." The guards exchanged confused looks. Some humans smiled faintly, touched by his words. The alien envoys, however, looked annoyed. Their little plan wasn't going the way they expected. Kira lowered her head. "They didn't tell you the truth," she said quietly. "I guess that," Eli replied. "But truth has a way of speaking even when others try to hide it." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The crowd had gone silent too, watching this strange connection between two beings who were supposed to be mismatched. Finally, Eli turned his face toward the sky. "Would you like to walk with me, Princess? Away from all these voices?" Kira blinked in surprise. "You want to walk with me?" "Yes," he said simply. "I can't see the world, but I'd like to know how you describe it." Something stirred inside her chest, something warm she hadn't felt in years. She nodded slowly. "Then take my hand, human Eli," he smiled. "Gladly." As they walked away from the crowd, the onlookers whispered in shock. The alien guards followed but stayed far behind, confused by how naturally the two moved together. Eli walked slowly, listening to the crunch of gravel, the hum of Kira's glowing robe, the way her breathing steadied with each step. "You sound calmer now," he said gently. "I feel different," Kira admitted. "Usually when people look at me, I feel cold. But you," she hesitated, searching for the right words. "You make me feel seen." Eli's smile was quiet. "Maybe we both are in our own way." As the suns began to set, Kira and Eli sat near the edge of a cliff overlooking the valley. The colony lights flickered below like fireflies. Kira watched him in silence. "You don't hate me," she said, still surprised. "Hate you?" "No," Eli said. "I think maybe you've been hiding behind others' fear for too long." Kira turned her gaze to the horizon. "They called me cursed, ugly, dangerous. Even my family." I don't hear a curse, Eli said softly. I hear someone strong enough to survive being broken. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. She had met many who pitied her, but never one who respected her. At that moment, the air around them shimmered faintly. A soft hum pulsed from Kira's body, unnoticed by her, but not by Eli. He turned slightly. There's light near you, he said. She blinked. You can feel that? He nodded slowly. Yes, like warmth in the air. Kira looked down at her trembling hands, frightened. That's not supposed to happen. But Eli only smiled. Then maybe it's supposed to happen now. That night, while the alien ship rested in orbit and the colony lights dimmed, a strange energy rippled quietly across the sky. The Zalari guards didn't understand it, and neither did the humans watching from afar. But in that quiet corner of the world, a blind human and an unwanted princess had taken the first step toward something greater than either of them could imagine. Something that would soon shake both their worlds. The night on Eden's Reach was peaceful, but for Eli it was alive with sound. The wind carried whispers, and the distant hum of alien ships echoed like soft thunder in his mind. He sat on the porch of his small home listening, not with ears alone, but with the strange awareness he'd learned after years of blindness. Inside, Princess Kira moved quietly. Every step she took left a faint vibration in the air, and Eli could sense her presence before she even spoke. Her movements were slower now, more uncertain, like someone who was learning to breathe again. She stood by the window, her glowing eyes reflecting starlight. She touched her skin, feeling the uneven patterns that had made her a secret all her life. Her people had called her broken. The human beside her had called her strong. It was hard to believe both could be true. Eli turned his head toward her. You haven't said much since the meeting, he said softly. Kira hesitated. I've never been treated kindly before. I don't know how to act. Then don't act, Eli said. Just be. The words were simple, but they struck her heart like an echo she had longed to hear. She walked closer, her voice trembling. You really don't care what I look like? Eli smiled faintly. No, but I care how you sound when you're sad. She laughed quietly, the first real laugh in years. You're strange, human Eli. Strange is how most good things begin, he replied. Later that night, as silence covered the colony, Kira couldn't sleep. She sat outside watching the stars. Her skin pulsed with faint light, the same unstable glow she had tried to hide since childhood. But now something was different. The light didn't hurt. It felt warm. Eli joined her, guided by her soft hum. You're glowing again, he said. Kira turned quickly, surprised. How do you know that? I can feel it, Eli said, sitting beside her. It's like the air gets heavier, warmer, almost alive. Her breath caught. That's impossible. Eli tilted his head. Is it? Kira looked at him, her eyes uncertain. No one else has ever felt my energy before. When I was young, they said it was dangerous. My power could burn others, or worse. Eli reached out, his hand moving slowly until he found hers. Then maybe it doesn't want to hurt. Maybe it's just waiting for someone who doesn't fear it. Kira's light flickered softly under his touch. Her heart raced. For the first time, the energy didn't lash out. It calmed. In that quiet moment, something strange happened. Eli's sightless eyes flickered with faint silver. He gasped quietly, but not from pain, from wonder. I see light, he whispered. Kira froze. You what? He turned toward her, eyes wide though still clouded. Not shapes. Not faces. Just light coming from you. Her whole body trembled. That's not possible, Eli. You're blind. Maybe not to you, he said, smiling weakly. But I can feel your light inside my mind. It's beautiful. Tears filled her glowing eyes. No one had ever said that word to her before. Beautiful. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. You shouldn't be able to see anything. My light, it's unstable. It should hurt you. Eli shook his head slowly. It doesn't. It feels peaceful. Like it's trying to speak. They sat in silence, the air shimmering faintly around them. From far above, alien monitors on the orbiting ship began to flicker. The Zalari scientists watching the data frowned in confusion. Unusual readings from the princess's energy field, one said. It's expanding and resonating with the human's biological signal. Resonating, another repeated. That's impossible. Human bodies can't handle her frequency. But the data was clear. Eli's presence wasn't just tolerating Kira's energy. It was stabilizing it. Down on the ground, Eli and Kira had no idea they were being observed. The night felt still, peaceful. But beneath the quiet, a change had begun. Kira leaned against the railing, still glowing softly. "They said my light could destroy," she whispered. "But with you, it feels alive," Eli nodded. "Maybe because I can't see your light, I don't fear it. That gives it room to breathe." Kira turned toward him. "You speak as if light has feelings," he smiled. "Maybe it does. Maybe it's just been lonely." Her laugh was soft, almost shy. She looked at him with wonder, realizing that the man who could not see was the only one who truly understood her. But far above them, on the Zalari ship, the council began to argue. "This cannot continue," said one. "If the human can awaken her core, he could become a threat. Their bond must be monitored," another hissed. "If she loses control, she could wipe out the entire colony." They watched the screen as Kira's glow spread wider, softer, wrapping both her and Eli in faint light. The readings pulsed gently, 2 heartbeats, 1 pattern. The elder scientist whispered, "He's not afraid of her. That's what makes him dangerous." Back on the porch, Eli felt the warmth fade. "It's getting late," he said gently. Kira nodded, though her eyes still glowed. "Eli, do you think I'm cursed?" He turned toward her, his voice quiet and steady. "No. I think you're proof that beauty doesn't need to be seen, only felt." Kira smiled for the first time without fear. "Then maybe I'll let you feel my world. And maybe I'll learn to see yours." As they went inside, the soft glow followed them, faint, calm, and alive. But neither of them noticed the shadow moving in the sky above. A dark ship sent from the Zalari Council, carrying new orders. They had given the blind human the ugly sister. Now they feared he was beginning to see too much. The next morning, the colony of Eden's Reach awoke to the sound of alien engines. The Zalari royal vessel, the largest of its kind, had descended from orbit. Its silver hull glimmered under the twin suns, and its shadow swallowed the human settlement below. Eli stood outside, his head turned toward the sky. The air trembled, and he felt the pressure in his bones. "They've come," he said quietly. Beside him, Princess Kira stiffened. Her glowing eyes dimmed with unease. "The council wouldn't come here without reason," she whispered. "They must have seen what happened last night." Eli nodded. "They saw your light." Kira looked down at her trembling hands. "Then they'll want to take me back." Eli reached for her hand, steady and gentle. "They might try, but you don't belong to their fear anymore." She looked at him, and for the first time her voice carried a quiet strength. "Not if you stand beside me." A group of Zalari nobles arrived on the landing platform, their robes flowing like liquid metal. Behind them were soldiers, tall, armored, faceless. The air smelled of ozone and arrogance. At the center stood Lord Verne, the same council leader who had laughed the loudest when Kira's fate was decided. His tone was honeyed with false politeness. "Eli Ward," he said, bowing slightly. "We come to celebrate this union." Eli inclined his head. "Then welcome. Celebration is always better than mockery." Verne's smile flickered. "Mockery? Oh no, human. We would never mock what we give freely." His eyes slid toward Kira. "You seem to have tamed her light. Impressive for a creature without sight." Kira's jaw tightened. "Do not speak as if I'm an animal, Verne." The nobles gasped softly. The ugly sister had never spoken so boldly before. Verne's tone cooled. "Careful, princess. You were sent here as a symbol of peace, not pride." Eli stepped slightly forward. "She was sent as a person." "You forget that part," some of the younger aliens whispered in surprise. "A mere human, blind, fragile, speaking against the Royal Council?" Verne smirked. "Ah, the hero of the fleet. I see why they called you brave. But you speak without understanding. The princess's energy is unstable. She could destroy your colony with a single pulse." "She hasn't destroyed anything," Eli said calmly. "Maybe because for once she isn't afraid." A murmur ran through the gathered crowd, me humans, aliens, soldiers, and onlookers alike. Kira's glow began to pulse softly, matching the beat of her heart. The light shimmered across her skin like living fire. Verne took a wary step back. "Control yourself, girl." Kira raised her chin. "I'm not your shame anymore." The air trembled. Eli felt it, a vibration deep in his chest like thunder under the earth. Verne's soldiers aimed their plasma rods in panic. "Contain her!" one shouted. But before they could act, Kira's power flared, a burst of pure white light exploding outward. The ground rippled. Humans covered their faces, blinded by the brilliance. Eli stood still, his eyes glowing faintly silver, calm in the storm. "Kira," he said softly, "it's all right. Breathe. I'm here." His voice cut through the chaos like a beacon. The raging energy around her began to slow, drawn toward him as if he were gravity itself. Kira's light folded inward, gentle and steady. She collapsed to her knees, panting. The soldiers lowered their weapons, stunned. Vern stared in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. He stopped her. One of the alien scientists stepped forward, trembling. "The human's neural field, it resonates with hers. He stabilizes the energy waves." Vern's face hardened. "Then he's not just her husband, he's her key." Later, inside the council's temporary chamber, the discussion turned dark. "We cannot allow this bond to grow," said one noble. "If her power fuses with his biology, she could evolve beyond control." "Terminate the connection," said another coldly, "for the safety of our race." But the old healer, the same one who once warned them, spoke up. "You fools. The human doesn't weaken her. He heals her. For the first time, her power acts from peace, not pain." Varen slammed his hand on the table. "Enough. Tomorrow we take her back to Zalari Prime. The human will remain here, blind and broken." That night, Kira and Eli sat alone under the stars again. She was quiet, her glow dim and trembling. "They'll take me," she whispered. "You know they will." Eli turned his face toward her voice. "Then they'll have to go through me first." "You don't understand," she said, tears filling her eyes. "When I lose control, I could hurt you." He shook his head. "You won't, because you already saved me from living in darkness." Kira's breath caught. "You really believe that?" "I don't believe it," he said softly. "I feel it." She smiled faintly, her tears glowing like liquid stars. "You're not afraid of what I am?" He reached for her hand. "No, but they should be." The wind carried their words across the silent valley. Above them, the alien fleet shifted, preparing for morning. But deep within the ship's scanners, a new reading flickered, something the Zalari had never seen before. Two separate life forms, human and alien, now sharing a single energy signature. They had mocked the blind man for marrying the unwanted sister. Now the universe itself was beginning to fear what their bond could become. The following morning on Eden's Reach began with silence. No birds sang. No engines moved. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Above the colony, the Zalari fleet hovered like steel clouds, blocking out the twin suns. Inside the human compound, Eli Ward sat beside Kira's bed. Her energy had dimmed after the outburst. Her breathing was steady now, but the glow beneath her skin flickered faintly like dying embers. Eli ran his fingers over the edge of the metal table, counting the vibrations, one every second, the hum of alien technology monitoring her pulse. He could hear the rhythm of her heart in the air. Strong but restless. When she stirred, he leaned closer. "Kira," he said softly. "You're safe." Her eyes opened, glowing weakly. "They're still here," she murmured. "I can feel their engines. They're watching me." "Yes," Eli said, "but they can't take you without a fight." She gave a faint, sad smile. "You'd fight a whole empire for me?" "I'd fight the whole galaxy if it meant you were free," he said simply. Something in his tone, calm, honest, made her chest tighten. No one had ever spoken for her like that. Moments later, the door hissed open. The old Zalari healer entered, her long robes dragging softly across the floor. Unlike the other nobles, her eyes held no cruelty. "Leave us," she told the guards. They obeyed, and the door sealed shut behind them. She turned to Eli. "Human, I must speak with the princess, and you must hear it too." Kira sat up weakly. "What do you want, Elder?" The healer's voice was low and filled with sorrow. "To tell you the truth, your family buried long ago." Eli listened closely, his brow furrowed. The healer continued, "You were never ugly, child. That was a lie told to protect the royal image. Your skin, your light, it's not a deformity. It's the mark of the true lineage." Kira blinked in confusion. "True lineage?" "Yes," the healer said. "Long before the current rulers, our kind was born from beings of light, pure energy that could shape reality. The royal bloodline was supposed to carry that spark, but over centuries it faded. Until you. Kira's voice trembled. So I was, what? A mistake? The healer shook her head. No. You were the proof that the old power still lived. The council feared you because they could not control what they did not understand. They called you ugly, cursed, monstrous. But the truth is your body changed to hold more power than any living Zalari. Eli's jaw tightened. So they hid her. Laid to her. All because they were afraid. The healer nodded sadly. Yes, they sealed her away, told the people she was deformed. Even her family believed it was mercy. But fear is never mercy. Kira looked down at her trembling hands. Her voice broke. All these years? They made me hate myself for something I never chose. Eli reached out, touching her fingers gently. Then it's time to stop hating what makes you strong. Her eyes met his, glowing brighter now as if her light responded to his words. The healer stepped closer. You must understand. Your connection with this human is no accident. When your light met his mind, it recognized something. Humans are energy-bound creatures too, only less aware of it. His blindness, his sensitivity, that allowed his body to resonate with yours. Eli frowned. So my lack of sight helped her power? Yes, said the healer. Because you do not see her as others do. You feel her essence, not her form. And in doing so, you've given her balance. Where her power once broke things, it now heals. Kira stared at Eli, tears running down her glowing cheeks. You make me whole. Eli smiled faintly. You were whole before me. I just helped you remember. The healer's expression grew grave. Then listen carefully, and the council has decided to take you back to Zalari Prime. They mean to study you. But I know what that means. They will strip your energy, dissect it, and destroy the human if he resists. Kira's light flared. They won't touch him. The healer bowed her head. I believe you. But you must both leave before they act. Eli stood. How much time do we have? Hours, the healer said. I will delay their orders as long as I can. There is an old transport in the west hangar. It runs on hybrid fuel, human and Zalari technology. You can escape through the mining tunnels before sunrise. Kira stepped forward and gripped the healer's hand. Why help us? The old woman smiled sadly. Because once long ago I had a daughter who shone like you. They called her cursed too. I couldn't save her, but maybe I can save you. When the healer left, silence filled the room again. Eli turned toward Kira. Are you ready? Kira nodded slowly. I've lived my whole life afraid of what I am, but now, I want to see what happens when I stop hiding. Eli smiled. Then let's make sure the galaxy sees it too. She reached out, touching his face gently. You really can't see me? He shook his head. No, but I can feel every piece of you that matters. Her light flickered warmly, wrapping them both in a soft glow. Outside, the alien fleet stirred restlessly, unaware that their ugly princess was awakening into something unstoppable. The human they thought blind had helped her find herself. And together, they were about to challenge the empire that built its power on lies. The dawn on Eden's Reach never came that day. The twin suns rose behind a wall of silver ships, casting the colony in shadow. The air buzzed with the hum of Zalari engines. From the sky it looked peaceful, but on the ground tension crackled like static before a storm. Inside the human compound, Eli Ward and Princess Kira prepared to run. The healer's warning echoed in their minds. They will come before sunrise. Kira stood by the window, her glowing eyes reflecting the metallic clouds above. They've sealed the sky lanes, she whispered. Even the air smells like them. Eli fastened a small pack to his shoulder, feeling each buckle by touch. Then we'll take the tunnels. The healer said they lead past the mining ridge. Kira turned to him. Eli, if they catch us, they'll kill you. He smiled faintly. Then we won't get caught. But behind his calm voice, he could feel the danger pressing closer. The ground itself vibrated. Soldiers landing, engines charging, weapons primed. He reached for her hand. Listen, whatever happens, stay close to me. Don't let fear speak louder than my voice. She nodded, her light flickering softly. Your voice always finds me. They slipped into the lower tunnels, the world above them fading into silence. The air smelled of dust and rusting metal. As they moved deeper, faint lights flickered along the walls and blew like veins of trapped lightning. This place feels alive, Kira whispered. It is, Eli said. Old mining systems. Half machine, half organic. The Zalari built them before the colony was human. Kira reached out and touched the wall. Her light spread across the surface and the old metal responded, glowing, humming softly in recognition. Eli turned toward her. "You're awakening it." "I'm not trying to," she said. "It's reacting to me." Suddenly a voice echoed down the tunnel, metallic, cold, familiar. "Stop running." Kira froze. Vern, the council leader's voice filled the corridor, amplified by his soldiers' comms. "Did you really think you could hide, sister? The galaxy will never belong to a half-formed creature and a blind man." Eli clenched his fists. "Then we'll find a galaxy that doesn't belong to you." Vern laughed. "How poetic. Take them." The tunnel burst with light as Zilari soldiers appeared, armor shining, weapons charged. Energy beams cut through the dark. Eli pulled Kira down as explosions tore through the walls. The ancient tunnels groaned. Rocks fell and metal screamed. Kira's fear ignited her light. "Eli, I can't hold it back." He caught her hands, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Don't hold it back. Aim it." Her eyes widened. "I don't know how." "Yes, you do," he said. "You've always known. You just needed someone to see you." His words struck something deep inside her, a spark of memory, of pain, of strength. Her light flared, not wild but focused. A wave of radiant energy shot down the tunnel, melting the soldiers' weapons and throwing them backward like dolls. The walls shook but held. For a moment there was only silence, and the faint sound of Kira's breathing. Eli reached out and found her shoulder. "You did it." Her voice trembled. "I felt everything. The fear, the fire, and then your voice pulled me back." "You found control," he said softly. "That's power, not destruction." But before they could move, a louder hum filled the air, the sound of a ship engine close and growing. A smaller vessel descended into the canyon above, its light scanning the tunnels. Bairn stepped from its ramp, his armor gleaming. His eyes burned with fury. "You've disgraced our empire long enough." He raised a pulse weapon aiming straight at Eli. "The human dies first," Kira screamed. Her light burst again, surrounding Eli like a shield. The weapon fired while the beam hit the light and scattered, turning into harmless sparks. Vern stumbled back. "Impossible!" Eli stood firm, his hand still holding Kira's. "You've spent your life calling her ugly. Maybe you should look closer." Vern's face twisted in rage. "You think you understand our kind, human? You've only seen a fraction of her power. She'll destroy you too." Kira's voice was calm, steady. "You were right about one thing, brother. You never understood me." Her glow grew brighter, not blinding but radiant, warm, like dawn breaking through endless night. The air itself seemed to hum with her heartbeat. The ground vibrated and the soldiers fell to their knees, unable to look at her. Bairn staggered backward. "What are you?" Kira's eyes softened. "I am what you feared most, a light you cannot control." With a single motion, she spread her hand. A wave of gentle force rippled through the canyon, lifting Eli and herself upward as if carried by wind. The tunnel collapsed behind them, sealing off the soldiers below. When they landed outside, the air was clear again. The Zilari ships above flickered, their power systems failing one by one. Kira looked at her glowing hands in awe. "I didn't mean to break them." Eli smiled faintly. "You didn't break anything. You freed us." Kira turned to him, her voice trembling. "They'll come again. They won't stop." "Then we keep moving," Eli said. "They can chase light, but they'll never catch it." She reached out, touching his cheek. "You're not afraid even now." He laughed softly. "I stopped being afraid the moment I met you." As they walked into the horizon, the twin suns finally broke through the clouds. Their light blended with Kira's glow until it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. Far above, the crippled Zilari fleet drifted silently, the Empire shaken by what it had just witnessed. They had given the blind human the ugly sister, thinking it was a joke. But now both human and alien knew the truth. They had created something far beyond a gift. They had created a legend. The stars were burning that night, not with war, but with warning. The Zilari Empire had never known fear until now. Their ships drifted in silence, their mighty engines dim. Across every transmission, one name echoed: the blind human and the light-born princess. But down on a forgotten edge of Eden's reach, far from the broken fleets, Eli Ward and Princess Kira sat inside a quiet, half-ruined mining ship. It was small, scarred, and ancient, but alive with soft blue light. Kira's energy had fused with its systems and the vessel now pulsed with her heartbeat. Eli rested his hand on the wall. Feels like it's breathing. Kira smiled faintly. It's connected to me now. Wherever I go, it follows, he chuckled softly. Good, then it'll keep us company. The moment was peaceful, but both knew it couldn't last. The Zalari Council would not let them disappear. To the Empire, they were not lovers. They were a threat to the natural order. Kira looked out the cracked window at the stars. They'll hunt us forever. Eli turned toward her voice. Then we'll make forever worth the chase. As they prepared to launch, the console lit up with an incoming transmission. It wasn't from the Council, it was the old healer. Her voice crackled through the speaker, strained and hurried. Kira, they've issued an order. A weapon is coming, the null wave. It erases energy, life, everything. They plan to use it on your location. Kira's breath caught. That will kill thousands, not just us. I tried to stop them, the healer said. But they are blinded by pride. Leave now before it's too late. The signal cut. Eli's jaw tightened. We can't just run and let them destroy this colony. Kira looked at him, her eyes glowing fiercely. Then we don't run. What are you thinking? He asked quietly. If they send darkness, she said, standing tall, I'll answer with light. Eli shook his head. Kira, that weapon wipes out energy. It could kill you, she smiled sadly. Maybe, but I'm not afraid to die anymore. Not after being invisible for so long. He reached for her hand. You don't have to do this alone. Her voice softened. Eli, if I fall, promise me you'll keep seeing, even without eyes. He gripped her hand tightly. Then don't fall. Moments later, the sky cracked open. The Zalari fleet reappeared above the planet, dark and endless. At its center, a massive ship charged with blue energy, the null wave generator. Every being on the colony felt it. A cold hum, like the heartbeat of death. Kira stepped outside, her robe fluttering in the wind, her glow rising higher and brighter until the air itself began to shimmer. The light flowed from her skin into the ground, spreading like roots through the soil, up the towers, and across the clouds. Eli followed behind her, one hand stretched out, sensing every vibration in the earth. They're locking on, he said. I know, Kira whispered. Let them see me. From orbit, Lord Varen watched the energy readings spike. She dares to challenge us again? He hissed. Fire the wave. The ship's cannons glowed, then unleashed the weapon. A storm of black energy fell from the heavens, silent and vast, ready to erase everything. Eli turned toward Kira's voice. Now, Kira. She closed her eyes. Together. Their hands met. At that moment, the light and the darkness collided. The explosion wasn't fire. It was creation. The null wave met Kira's light and shattered like glass. The energy didn't vanish. It transformed. It poured upward, outward, filling the sky with spirals of silver and gold. Every star seemed to wake. Every machine hummed to life. From orbit, the Zalari soldiers fell to their knees. What is happening? One cried. Varen stared in disbelief. Her light. It's rewriting the weapon's energy. The old healer whispered from her ship. No, not rewriting. Purifying. On the surface, Eli stood in the storm of light, his hair lifted by the energy. He couldn't see it, but he felt everything. The warmth, the sound, the heartbeat of the universe. I can see it, he whispered. Through you, Kira. I can see everything. Her voice trembled beside him, both powerful and fragile. Then tell me, what does it look like? He smiled through tears. Like home. When the light finally faded, the sky was clear again. The Zalari fleet was gone, and not destroyed, but changed. Their ships no longer carried weapons. Their cores glowed faintly with the same gentle radiance that had once surrounded Kira. The null wave had become something else. The dawn pulse. A wave of life instead of death. Kira knelt on the ground, exhausted but alive. Her glow had dimmed, but her heart beat strong. Eli reached her side, touching her cheek. You did it, he said softly. No, she whispered. We did. She leaned into him, tears glimmering like stars on her skin. You saw me before anyone else did. Even when I was buried in darkness, he smiled faintly. You gave me back my sight. Just not the kind anyone else would understand. Weeks later, the story spread across the stars. The tale of a blind human and the ugly princess who turned war into peace. Some called them myth, others called them saviors. On a quiet moon far from the Empire, two figures lived in peace, tending to gardens that glowed faintly in the night. Eli still couldn't see with his eyes. But every time he held Kira's hand, his world filled with color, warmth, and sound. And sometimes when the wind was still, the stars above pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. The universe remembered. They gave the blind human the ugly alien sister, thinking he would never notice. But he had seen what no one else could, and in doing so, he taught the galaxy that true sight begins where fear ends.